Hey guys, it's Tarek with HobbyWing. Let me straighten this out real quick. There we go. And I'm going to do a real quick video here. It's a little tutorial on setting up the HobbyWing stack, the X-Rotor stack, which is the 4-in-1 ESC 45 amp ESC, and the F4 flight controller. Okay. One of the things we're going to do here is go through this step, and also sorry, let me just kind of switch cameras here and you'll be able to see what I'm talking about. So I'm actually going to do this with the Evolution controller, so I can kind of get two things out in one video. One is going to be on binding the Evolution, and the other is going to be on how to set up the flight controller with the Evolution or with anything else that's going to be using SBus. Okay, and I know this camera is kind of angled just so I can get the board here. So let me go ahead and go back to this. So the idea here is that if we can do this, okay. So the idea here is that we're going to go through this as quickly as possible. I'm just going to open, both of these are open box, brand new, and you guys can see how quickly we'll set that up. And then I'll do a second video on setting up the HobbyWing with even more steps, okay? So let's kind of get to it, and we'll start unboxing this stuff, and we'll get going. First thing is we're going to go ahead and take the Evolution out. And these we have on sale on our website, by the way. They are also part of some of our DIY kits. But here's the controller, and it does come with its own receiver, and then here's your charging cable. I'm hoping that the controller has enough power in it right now that I will not need to plug it in to charge it at the moment. All right, so we're going to go ahead and open up the receiver. And this is also going to kind of show you how to put this in SBus mode so that there's no confusion there. All right. Now, the receiver does come bound automatically to the flight controller, but it's also another way to do it is to just do what I'm going to show you here, and it'll work just fine. But I'm not going to put this in a frame, obviously, so I'm just going to leave everything kind of like it is. Let's go ahead and make sure we have power here first on the controller, and we do, and it's telling us that we've got to lower everything down, so there you go. And it's ready to go here, and I'll show you guys more of this from the different camera angle above me. But for right now, what we want to do is we just want to go ahead and get this done, show you guys that it's up and running, okay? And now we're going to go ahead and open up our HobbyWing. And what you're going to see here is you've got your flight controller and you've got your ESC. Let me get this out of here. And then the contents inside the package are going to be, you're going to have your capacitors and everything else. But all I really care about right now is I just need the wire that's going to link the flight controller to the ESC. So let me go ahead and open that real quick. And we'll just take the, so we can take this short one, or we'll take the longer one, because I'm going to lay them side by side anyway. All right, let me put everything else back in the box. Get this out of the way. And again, this is just going to be a step one of how to set this up. So first I'm going to power off the receiver or the transmitter, because we don't need that right now. So the main thing first is going to be that we are going to, and let me see if I can zoom in. I should be able to. Okay, so we are going to be connecting to this board right here. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to locate the pins that you're going to be connecting to, or the pad that you're going to connect to. And the pads are going to be, if I can zoom in a little bit more, and let me see if I can show you this real quick. So the pads we're looking for here are going to be your, let me find them here for you, because I need my magnifying glass. I'm too old to do this without one, so bear with me a second. Sorry about that light there. Okay, so what we have is the following. We've got our SBus port on the bottom, and you can see the words here, and if you can't see them, they will correspond with what you've got. But on the bottom row here, we go ground 5-volt SBus, okay? So these 3 pins are what we're focusing on right now. And then we're going to plug this into the flight controller so that we can, or to the ESC, so that we can get power to the board, all right? So to do that, we're going to go ahead and prep the board first. And I'm going to turn this towards me so I can prep it, and I'll zoom out just a little bit. All right, and let me get my flux pen. And please make sure to follow these rules. I mean, these are what makes the installs go much easier. So go ahead, and since I'm probably going to use this board down the road, I'm just going to go ahead and put flux on the whole thing. And you can always do the bottom if you plan on pinning from the bottom or soldering from the bottom. And I just usually cover all the pads because I never know where I'm going to go with this down the road. So once we have the flux on here, we're going to go ahead and tin it. And to do that, I've already got my soldering iron ready to go. So I'm just going to tin this so that we can, prep the board. So we're going to hit the ground, like I said, right here, and we're going to hit the 5-volt, and we're going to hit the SBus, okay? And there you go. So that's ready to go. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get the ESC ready. And to do that, we're basically just going to pin this up. Now, you want to make sure, I know you get in the habit of just plugging these in where they go, but I always like to make sure that my wires are lined up right. So if you can look here, you'll follow the flow. It says you've got your your voltage, and then your ground, your battery, and so forth. So we know this is the right order, and then we want to do the same thing on this side. And so we know that the pins are going up, so we're going to flip this around, and you can see by the, let me make sure I see all my pins straight. Okay, so you can see right here that this goes 10 volt ground and so forth. So we know for sure that this is right. This is important for me as a step. I don't like to just get in the habit of thinking this is all wired properly or that there's no bent pins. So always do a check, right? Okay, so now we've got both boards here. And the next thing to do is going to be to take the receiver, and what the way they have this done here is that the plug will be going, and you've got your option of PPM, SBus, and then you've got your power and your ground, right? So we know that this is going to go this route, okay? And we're not going to be using PPM, we're going to be using SBus, so we're going to be using the white cable. And I will go ahead and terminate this right now so that I can show you guys the next step. So let me zoom out. And I'm going to go ahead and terminate these so that we can tin these wires too, and then just get them ready. And so I'm just going to cut the ends, and I'll keep the wires pretty long. Okay, so now that's done. And go ahead and use this tool that Josh Moon sent me. Appreciate you, my friend, again. And we're just going to strip these wires real quick, and you don't really need them that long. So about 2 millimeters will be fine, because you're still going to have to tin them, and then you can always cut them down after that. So there we go. Now, since we're not going to use the PPM, you can remove it from the case, or you can just solder directly to the piece. But for right now, or else you can just tuck it away. All right. Now I'm going to use a solder paste to do this part. Let me get this light out of the way real quick. Maybe it'd be easier to see. So I'm going to take the solder paste like I have here. I'm just going to dunk all 3 wires in there and kind of press it around. And that's going to put paste, and it's going to look kind of nasty, but it's going to put paste on here for me. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to twist the wire a little bit, and I'm going to squeeze that paste in there, and that's basically going to get all the paste inside these strands, okay? Now, with that done, and you want to look at it, because if you see this black one here, it's kind of strands are coming off. You want to make sure all the strands are tight in there. Right, now that that's done, we're going to go ahead and tin the wires real quick. And just to do that, I'm just going to prop them up off of the table here a little bit. And I'm just going to tin them real quick. It takes all of a second to tin these wires. All right, so let's just do that. So we'll start with the ground. There's 1, there's 2, then there's 3. All right, now that the wires are tinned, we want to go ahead and cut back the excess wire that we don't need. So just to give you an example, these are a little long, and if you look at the board that you're tinning or that you're soldering to, right, just lay the wire on there. You want to basically get the wire all the way up to the silicone shielding, all the way up to the board. You do not want the wire to be so long that it can actually cross into the path of the other port. So if I do that, I'm very close. It's probably okay at this length, but I wouldn't go any longer than that, all right? So we're going to go ahead and just solder this up real quick. And let's just knock that out. So we're going to go, by the rule of how I solder, we're going to go with from outside in. That way we're not crossing over. So let's just go ahead and take the ground first, because that is the first pad available. If I can grab this, there we go. And again, it's going to be all of 1 second to get this done. So do not hold the solder on there any longer than that. It's not necessary. So 1, and that's done. And we're going to go ahead and go to our 5 volt. We're just going to quickly solder that one, and that's done. And now we'll go to our SBus right here. Okay. If I can just get this to quit moving for a second. And that's done. All right. So now we're pretty much done with our soldering iron, at least for this portion of the video. So I'm going to get everything kind of out of the way, and we can now get to the next step here, right? And I do have Betaflight loaded on the computer here, or it's going to get ready to get open, so I can show you how to set it up. So we're good here. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab, I have a DC, AC to DC power converter. So I'm going to make sure my voltage is set right. It's about 12.8. I can lower it a little bit. I'll get it like, oh, there we go, 12.3 is fine. And then what you want to do is you want to check your pads. You know, positive's on the right side, what we're looking at here, and then ground is over here. So I'm going to go ahead and put my positive here. Then I'll put my ground on. And the first thing we're going to want to do is let's make sure there's no metal here, nothing in the way. And we'll go ahead and flip our receiver over, if it'll stay, so that we can see the lights. I'll just put this the wire snips right here so that we can see that. So you should be able to see everything real quick, all right? And we'll power this up. sure. Hold on, I don't have my thing connected properly here, so hang tight 1 second. There we go. Okay, so now that we're up and running, you can see everything going, and you can see the light blinking. All right, so the receiver is trying to find a connection right now, okay, and the transmitter is turned off. Oh, I see you can't see that. Hold on, let me kind of organize this a little bit better then. This way we don't have any worries about these slipping. Okay, so if you can see that, the wire is blinking right there, okay, and it's trying to basically find the transmitter, which is right here. Okay, so let me zoom out a little bit. All right, now what we're going to do, I'll turn this around. As a matter of fact, I'll tell you what, there's a better camera angle here. Let me just turn this on, and I think I can get this going for you guys. If you give me 1 second, I should be able to get this. Let me just flip this because I cannot see the screen here, and I should be able to add another angle. There we go. So let me add one more camera to this, and you guys can look straight down then, and it'll be easier to see. So let's do that. Let's see if it's going to come up here. And it did, so it's right here. Bear with me, and I'll change all this around. Let me zoom in a little bit. Okay, there we go. So let's do that. There, so now you guys can see it from the top. I apologize, I should have done it earlier. I didn't think I would need that angle, but it does look better like that. Okay, so now with this done, we're gonna go ahead and power on our, see if I can slide this a little bit out of the way without shorting it out. There we go. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and power on our transmitter. Okay, and there it is. And as you can see, the red light is now solid. Let's see if I can zoom in a little bit on that. Well, I can't. I'm at the wrong angle there, but you can see that red light solid. I hope you can see that, okay? So, now, one of the things you have to do on the Turnigy or on the Evolution is you have to tell it that you want to use SBus, right? Because if you try to plug this into Betaflight, let me give you an idea here. I'm going to go ahead and plug this in. Hopefully I can do all this without it shorting anything out at all, so bear with me a second. Okay, so now Betaflight's on, and I'm going to show you that screen. So let's do that. Let's bring that over. Let me kind of get Betaflight pulled up. All right, now everything is going to look good, and we've got COM3, so we've got the drivers loaded, and we're just going to go ahead and connect, okay? And one of the things that you're going to see is right off the bat, you have to know which port to use, and it's going to be UART1, and you're going to use it for serial. Let me make sure you can see this. This mouse isn't moving that great. Serial, there it is, Serial RX, okay? And you're going to go to your configuration tab, scroll down, and you're going to make sure that you have serial-based receiver set and you have SBus on, right? Now, when you do that and you go to your receiver, you're still not going to see anything, and that's because the Evolution has not been set right. So now we're going to swing this back over, and we're going to go ahead and set up the Evolution. So first thing, and it's probably going to tell us to turn it off. First thing we're going to do is hit our little tools icon there, and we're going to go to our, let me see, where is this at? Bear with me a second, and we're going to go to our output mode. When we do that, it's going to say I have to turn the RX off. So I'm going to go ahead and flip the DC converter off real quick. And when all the lights turn off, okay, now we can go ahead, and it knows we've turned it off. You have to make sure you select SBus instead of iBus. So go to SBus and click OK. And then go backwards. Hit your back arrow and click yes. All right, now it knows that it's looking for SBus instead of iBus, okay? Now we can go ahead and flip bed back on. And we hear our signals, we hear our sounds, and we see that we have signal here, right? Now we have SBus. Now if you look at your screen, my Betaflight screen, boom, we have motion now, you see? Everything's working great. So that's how you're gonna do this. Now assume that you did not have, I'm gonna flip the power back off, assume that you did not have this bound, right? Let's say you didn't get one with a kit and you just ordered a new receiver. So right now it's noticing that there's no signal, and so you would hit your tools, and you would scroll to your bind, RX bind, and what it's going to do is as soon as I give this power, it's going to bind it. So what it's doing is it looked automatically for that receiver, and it just bound to it again like it was brand new, all right? And from there, you're good. And you can see now on the Betaflight screen that everything looks good, okay? And that is how you set up your HobbyWing flight controller to be able to work with SBus, and those are the ports that you set it up on. So remember, it's UART1. Make sure to go to your configuration tab, set those up. Right here for serial base and SBus, and make sure that your controller, you could be using anything, a QX7 or whatever, but on this particular controller, this is how you set this up. Most of the people forget to add that feature, to put that on there. All right, so that's it, guys, a real quick video, but that's a how-to on how to set up your HobbyWing for SBus, and also how to set up your how to bind and set up SBus on your Evolution. If you have any questions, let me know. We're doing these videos every day so we can give you guys some tutorials, and it's my pleasure to always put one together for you, because if it helps you, it's going to help somebody else. All right, if not, God bless, enjoy your flying, have a great weekend, and we will talk to you soon. Bye.